San Francisco 49ers are coming off of a tough loss to the Kansas City Chiefs. What a bummer. But here's the bright side. They get to take on the Dallas Cowboys, who are coming into town. I got John Chapman right here to deliver the game plan to defeat those Cowboys. Let's get to it right after this. What's going on, 49er faithful? Welcome to the WayneBreezie Show. This is the John Chapman edition. Today, we're going to be delivering that game plan. John Chapman, thank you so much for being here. How are you feeling, my brother?
I love it, man. There are a few things in the world that I like more than 49ers versus Cowboys. This is how I became a Niners fan. And so, I'm so excited, man. Going to be at the game this weekend. Cannot wait. I hate the Cowboys. Hate.
It's a good word. It's a good word. You know, I'm just saying, especially with this team. For those that don't know, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys hit that like button. And please, if you're new, this first time watching, make sure you subscribe. Also, go to the description of the show when you get a chance. Click on 49ers Rush and make sure you're following and subscribing to my man, John Chapman. John, we got a lot of stuff we want to get to today in such little time. And I know the faithful are going to be asking question after question, but I promise we will get to some of your questions. I promise. Let's start with some 49ers news and updates. We got some updates on Christian McCaffrey, updates on Dre Greenlaw as well. Christian McCaffrey's progressing, no setbacks, but would be a surprise if the 49ers play him on Sunday, per some of the beat writers out there, John. A better chance he plays after the bye week. Is there a way CMC suits up?
I don't think so. I think this, there's a few things I'd never trust Kyle Shanahan with, and that's injury. Like, he will manipulate any type of news to give him some type of advantage. So I see this as Kyle trying to give the Cowboys, hey, we got to go over what if CMC plays. That's the whole purpose of this, in my opinion. Because if CMC was playing, you would know he is playing. That's my opinion.
Or would you not know until you know?
Well, if he was playing, you don't say this.
Aha.
So
okay. See, I'm thinking Kyle is playing the Fugazi game right now. He's playing a game. He's like, yeah, Dallas, but they would have to report him off of the IR, open up the practice window. So that's what you mean. Like, we would know, right?
Yeah. They are activating his 21-day window, which I think will take place this week. I expect that to happen.
Okay.
So we'll see.
But if that happens, there's got to be a 1% chance that he plays, right?
Yes. I'd go higher than 1%.
10%?
7.7.
Bro, that's how much we got the spread by, just about. Anyway, linebacker Dre Greenlaw window could be a few weeks after Christian McCaffrey's window open. How great, how refreshing, how replenishing, or come up with a John Chapman word would it be to get Dre Greenlaw back onto this San Francisco 49ers football team? Never mind just the defense.
I think it would be reinvigorating.
I knew you would come up with a word.
We need the passion. We need the energy. We need the enforcer. Now, whenever his injury took place, if you look at that 9-month timeline from when it happened, that would be November 17th against the Seattle Seahawks, which he's the CEO of Seattle. His biggest plays have all come against that division opponent. I think that's the one that has been circled. So I can tell you this, Drake Greenlaw's in fighting shape. We know that. That dude's still getting fined. He ain't even on the roster. Whatever checklist that is, check. He could throw people out the club. So I don't think we're ready by the bye week. I think maybe start practice the set after the Bucks, and then maybe you get him by the Bears home stretch, December 8th. That's whenever I would probably say, if I had to put betting money on it, December 8th against the Bears would probably be his first game.
Ah, man, I really wanted to be
earlier.
December 1st. If the Niners, if they could do me a solid, the game I'll be attending, they could do me a little solid. I would love to see. I know Dre Greenlaw will be there on that sideline, but I would like for him to be on the sideline dressed in 49er football equipment, not apparel.
Him versus Josh Allen, man. Whew.
Oh,
If you ever
come
needed
on.
him, it's going to be that game.
It's that game right there. And last but not least, there's news on kicker Jake Moody still going to be out. So, just your thoughts, man, on Anders Carlson. He did miss an extra point, but he did kick a couple field goals.
55-yarder?
55.
And he can kick it out of the end zone on kickoffs.
He
They
did
do it all the time.
Yeah, okay.
But,
He's about as accurate as Jake Moody when it comes to that.
factually correct. You want Jake Moody back. You need Jake Moody back. But I get it. I believe this. Kickers are replaceable unless you have a top 2 to 3 guy. I don't think we have a top 2 to 3 guy. I want Moody back. I think we're better with Jake Moody. But you don't have to rush it. You don't have to rush it. But he wasn't put on the IR. So what's interesting, they did place the other kicker, Matthew Wright, on the IR, so he's done for a few weeks, and he'll probably be released, maybe with an injury settlement at some 100%. Point, because how it kind of works. And then do you think that if and when Moody is ready to return, do you think Carlson goes to the practice squad? Yeah, you release him. You have to do that, and then I wouldn't even bring a kicker back to the practice squad, to be honest with you.
It's a waste of
spot.
Get
these guys off the street. And
gotcha.
I feel bad. Like, I'm not trying to be insulting to their profession, but there's so many kickers, the UFL, all that stuff that are just out there that you could side off the street. Anders Carlson is an example of that. You literally just get a guy, get out there, kick a 55-yard field goal, and that's what it is.
Good point. Let's get to the injury report. We got the season-ending injury news to Brandon Ayuk, wide receiver for the San Francisco 49ers. John, how detrimental is his injury, and how may it affect the 49ers, moving forward?
I don't think it's as big as an injury as we would have guessed it to have been in the offseason or last year. Brandon Ayuk's incredible. Any team with Brandon Ayuk is better than without him. No doubt about that. But this Brandon Ayuk all year has not been the Brandon Ayuk of old. Whether it's rust, whatever, the drops. He's the worst graded blocker on the entire team. That's not who Brandon Ayuk used to be. So, yes, it's huge, but I don't think it's as big as people are making it out to be, personally. We would be better with him. I wish he was still with us, but I don't think it's as catastrophic as losing the Brandon Ayuk last year, especially whenever you have guys like Cowing, especially when you have guys like Pearsall. And I'll be honest with you, the number one wide receiver the 49ers have isn't Brandon Ayuk, hasn't been all year. It's Juwan Jennings. Can he become healthy and go back to that X role? I think that is going to be interesting to see. If we can get that and we can get, him to play at the caliber that he did the first month of the season, 49ers might be, I don't want to say better off, but I don't know. We got to see here. And I know I'm probably in a minority on this, but what Brandon Ayuk has been putting out there, he had one good half in 7 games. That was it. So, yeah, I don't think it's as big a deal as everybody else is making it out to be. Usually you lose a $30 million wide receiver. It's, oh, my gosh, DEFCON 1. But sadly, that's not what we're missing by what's been put on tape.
I think that's fair to say. I feel like with Brandon Ayuk, maybe, obviously you said you don't know. It could be rust, could be anything. It could be the way teams are defending him a little bit differently. He does have a few drops on the season, 3 or 4, I believe, this year. But it's just unfortunate. How detrimental do you think it may be to the team next year? Because these two type of injuries, the ACL and an MCL, there's a potential he won't be able to even return to some probably late October, early November, depending on these two type of if he has to have reconstructive surgery.
If it's the ACL, then you're like, okay, that 7 to 9 month timeline, that puts him June, July. The complication is the MCL and reconstruction. That timeline's all over the place.
Dang.
Can be 9 months, can be 12 months. And we know for a fact, Brandon Ayuk has to have training camp to be successful. He has to. And so you have to have that ramp up period. Right now, it's just a guessing game for almost everybody because, again, when the MCL and ACL are deconstructed that way on contact, that you don't have a straight timeline for. So we don't know. Until the surgery happens, when the swelling goes down and all that stuff, it's just...
And then you got to go through the pain. You got to go through the rehab. There could be setbacks. All that
Brock
type of
Purdy
stuff.
Injury Watch 2.0, where it's going to be, is he, isn't he, IR, pup, blah, blah.
Gotcha. So it's going to be
doing
crazy.
it next year.
So we're going to be having another offseason of
Contracts, and injury watch.
And injury. Okay, there we go. That's same as last year, same as the year before, the year before, the year before, the year before. All 7 years except for 2017. Anyway, you talked about Jawan Jennings. Day to day, I don't know if he's listed day to day. Kyle Shanahan didn't necessarily state that he may not play, depending on how he practices this week. So, do you think this hip injury is a little bit more severe than what we thought it was? Because it seemed like he was just like a game time. Now he's not going to play this week, but he didn't practice last week. If he practices this week, is it more of a chance that he plays, or what are you doing with Jawan Jennings with an injury that can? I watched Mike Evans play football the other night, hamstring situation, and now might be more severe because he played on Monday Night Football. Now he might be out for a few weeks. Do you risk that with your best receiver now on this hip situation when you're on your way to your bye week?
Yes,
So
I do.
You do, okay.
And another thing, again, I don't trust Kyle Shanahan when he talks injuries. He talks Jawan Jennings leading up to the game. Yeah, I think he's going to play. Yeah, it's a game time decision. After the game, yeah, he might not play. Like, Kyle Shanahan is always magic 8-balling how he explains injuries to get some type of advantage. I fully expect Jawan Jennings to play. Fully expect him to play. I could be wrong. I have no insider information. This is just me reading the tea leaves. That is a Kyle Shanahan freaking tarot card reader, crazy man at the podium, but that's just my interpretation.
And you got the other guys that are listed day to day. George Kittle foot sprain, Chris Conley ankle sprain. How you feeling about those guys on this Sunday night?
I mean, the fact that the Kittle finished the game and had his best game of the season, I think tells a lot. So, like, now how he recovers, he's got a full week. That's good news.
And later time start,
and
right?
staying at home. He's not flying around. I expect Kittle to go. You remember whenever they talked about his ribs, and he's like, "What ribs? What are you talking about?
How much for an order of ribs?" That's what he should have said. He clearly didn't see. I'm gonna get you, sucker. George Kittle, step your
One
movie
of the best
game up,
movies
sir.
ever, man.
Hands down, Keenan Wayans. All right, that's the injury report. John, a couple of rumors are going on, man. We got some trade talks, trade deadlines coming up in November, early November, and the Niners with these injuries, man. Let's just say they got to trade for a wide receiver. We know we got some guys on this roster that we want to see develop, and the young guys, the Ricky Pearsall. Welcome back, Rick. You got Jacob Cowing we want to see more of, opposed to some of the veteran guys that are actually on the roster, like your Chris Conleys and then your second-year wide receiver and Ronnie Bell. But I'm just curious to know, man, do you think the Niners look to trade for a wide receiver, some type of a vet? Here are a couple of names. The Panthers are looking to sell like their whole franchise at this point. They're looking to rebuild. When we talk about selling
Every year.
they just don't have that guy at quarterback that they thought that they had in Bryce Young. DeAndre Hopkins is another target that the Niners could look into. What are your thoughts on these two guys? Or is there anybody John has his radar on?
Yeah, I like both these options, but I don't want to pay big time. Deontay Johnson would cost a lot more than DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins, you might be able to get for like a 7th or a 6th round pick swap. Deontay Johnson, probably a 4th or a 5th rounder. Now, if you're trying to replace Ayuk in his role, Deontay Johnson, he is the separator against man coverage, get open in a phone booth. That's what he is. He does it a little bit different, and he's a part of that 2019 draft class that Debo was a part of. So I know the 49ers went all in on studying him. DeAndre Hopkins, older, slower, but he wins with size, length, and amazing hands. So I would prefer DeAndre Hopkins personally. There are questions to Deontay Johnson and his character and love of the game and all those things, but Deontay Johnson's a better football player than Hopkins at this stage.
Correct.
Deontay Johnson fits what we are missing in Ayuk, but he's more expensive and doesn't like to block. I don't know if you ever saw that clip where he just like watches the fumble and walks away. Whenever he's with the Steelers, it's like one of the funniest clips ever where he just absolutely quit last year on the team. So that kind of factors in a little bit with Deontay, but he is a better player.
I did not know that.
I'm going to send it to you. You're going to laugh your ass off.
Please do. Any other players you feel like the Niners could trade for that aren't of this caliber when it comes to the wide receiver position? I feel like they need a wide receiver. Let's just say they need a wide receiver that's different from Brandon Ayuk?
I think Kendrick Bourne makes a lot of sense. Knows the system, can get him out there. Like I think that he is a guy that you could totally make sense with. The Jets, Mike Williams, he's much more along. I mean, he's a vertical stretcher. I think that he kind of fits with what we want to do. Those are kind of the top two names. Tennessee, that Westbrook and Kene Westbrook. Like I think he's a guy that could, be along those lines. But
can I throw a name at you? Tell me what you think. Cortland Sutton.
I love Cortland Sutton.
What's the problem?
49ers tried to get him in the offseason. I love Cortland. He's a Dallas boy. So, like, I've seen this guy play a lot of football. I love Cortland Sutton. The Broncos are winning. The Broncos are 4-3.
He's not being used.
He's not being used. I do not see the Broncos selling at all.
Good point.
So I would love Cortland Sutton. And whenever I remember the rumors were coming out that the 49ers were going to trade Ayuk to the Steelers and try to get back Sutton, I was all in. I was like, man, you bring Cortland Sutton to this, circus catches galore. But I don't think that the Denver Broncos are 4-3 with a rookie quarterback are going to be giving away prime wide receiver spots. But if they did, I'd trade a third right now for Cortland Sutton. I'd be happy as hell. He's good.
Last team I want you to take a deep dive into, just off the top of your brain, real quickly, is I know Amari Cooper is now on the Bills, but is there anybody from the Browns? Because they're going to be selling. They need a quarterback. Deshaun Watson is pretty much done in Cleveland. So is there anyone that you feel like can be a receiver? Or is there any free agents out there like Donovan Peoples-Jones? Like I feel like he would be a nice vertical stretch for the team as well if they wanted to go free agency. I don't think he got picked up.
Yeah, maybe Zadarius Smith, the defensive end. Like, whenever I think Cleveland, I think defense.
Didn't we go after him at one point?
I think 2 free agency site. He's kind of the new Jadeveon Clowney.
Yes.
Where he signs these 1-year mercenary deals.
Yes.
Which that's not a bad thing. Like, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. So, like, he makes sense. People say Myles Garrett, 0% chance. I mean, if you get a Wosu Koromora, again, that's a franchise-building player.
Yeah, man.
I don't think you're doing that. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't. Maybe you get Conklin to come in and play right, Jack Conklin. But I don't think
they would be willing to move on from offensive line pieces. Usually teams don't do that.
Usually they don't, but he's an older piece. You're building around Jedrick Wills. And so, nobody trades linemen. I doubt you can get
not good ones. Not good ones, yeah.
But you talked wide receivers, and I understand that. Yeah, look at their wide receivers are really, really bad. Kadarius Toney, no. David Bell, no. Cedric Tillman, I'd be cool with Cedric Tillman, but he's going to be like their one moving forward.
Did he used to play for the Bears?
Cedric Tillman?
Yeah.
No, he was drafted by
drafted by Cleveland? Okay.
Yeah, 3rd round pick. Maybe James Prochet. I'll stick with the Dallas boys. SMU. He took over for Cortland Sutton after Cortland Sutton was drafted. But again, not somebody that's going to like move the needle. You know what I mean? Those are pick round swap guys at best.
I feel like we might as well go with the young guys that we have if you're going to go with those dudes. If it's not Cortland Sutton, like, you know what I mean?
Cortland Sutton moves the needle.
He moves the
needle.
He moves the needle. All right, man. John, we got a get to a game plan from you. We got the Dallas Cowboys coming into town. They're coming off their bye week. And, we're 4.5-point favorites on Sunday Night Football. Now, I will say that the Niners this year are 2-0 on prime time. All right, so they won Monday Night Football. They won Thursday Night Football. Like, is that a thing? Is Brock Purdy just is he a prime time sign still delivered guy except for the Super Bowl? Like that's a different prime time, but
he shows up. There ain't no doubt about that.
Okay, I just wanted to we always put these things out there because I'm gonna find out like Mike McCarthy's record after the bye week. Mike McCarthy's.
He's a bad coach. First off, let me just say that. Like he is. I'm sorry. If I had to. And somebody sitting there like, he won a Super Bowl. That dude wouldn't even call in plays. He was the offensive guy. Aaron Rodgers was calling that. Stack team. Used to be a good coach. The ship has sailed on. Dude should have been fired years ago, but he's a yes man. Jerry goes differently. So, I don't know. We play 4 out of 6 teams that coming off a bye in these next 6 weeks.
That's insane. Crazy how they did us.
Insane, man. But they're not a good football team. I can tell you that. The Dallas Cowboys are bad. They are very, very bad. Now coming off a bye, 2 weeks, they're going to be healthier. They're getting some players back. We'll see how the injury reports go. But they're not good. They're not good.
He's 3-1 with the Cowboys, 12-5 in his career.
He's won a lot of regular season games, and so there's no doubt about that. Dak, we know Dak when prime time's on. Here we go.
The only team they lost to in 2022, and it was an overtime game to Green Bay, 31-28. This is off a bye week. Different teams, different players, but he's a winning coach off the bye week. So does that put any kind of like, not fear but concern that he's gonna have his guys prepared, or is they just a totally different team?
No, they should be prepared, but no, that head coach McCarthy gives nothing. That is a major negative, having him on your sideline. But them getting embarrassed on big time TV by the Lions and then having a bye week, they're coming to play. Like they're coming to. They had to sit on that embarrassment. The Lions were running the annexation of Puerto Rico against them, like on repeat.
They were just having fun, John. Like literally, like they were playing like NFL street football, bro. Like just having fun. Do you think now I would say that the Cowboys should be used to an ass whipping, because the last time they got beat bad was on Sunday Night Football against the San Francisco 49ers last season. You know what I'm saying? And they got beat bad. 44 to what? 10, 44 to 13, something like that. It was bad.
It was bad. I think it finished at 12. It's like a 30-point. It was bad.
It was bad.
Like, every time we play them lately, it hasn't been good for them. No. And so it started with the, back-to-back playoffs, knocking them out of the playoffs, and then it's carried over into the regular season. And so you want to continue that. And the problem is this. The Cowboys can't run the football. Okay. The Cowboys can't stop teams from running the football. The two most basic elements of what football has been for the past century: run the ball, stop the run. They can't do the most fundamental concepts of that, and that has been an issue for the Cowboys.
Huge issue. Let's talk about the offensive game plan. How does Kyle Shanahan whoever he's going to have out there together to go against this defensive front? They're going to be without DeMarcus Ware will be out of this game. Like they're going to be with not DeMarcus Ware.
Ware's out.
Yeah, Ware's out. They're going to be without some key pieces. How do you think the 49ers look to find a way? What's going to be the game plan?
Man, I think it should be relatively simple. Just keep it simple, stupid, right? And so you have so many young guys that are going to be at the wide receiver position. And that's even if Debo and Juwan Jennings could go, which are question marks. Like, you don't have to make this complicated. You don't. Stick to the basics. You don't have to score 35 points to win this game. Get the W in the most simplified version as possible. Run, play action, boot. Simple, simple, simple. You're going to get some double moves against this defense. They have aggressive corners. Jerron Bland, I expect to be back. He's their best corner. Trayvon Diggs, but both of those guys are both go for the pick, and if you get burned over the top, they just don't care. They give up the most yards to any wide receivers year in and year out. And you got to capitalize. We saw Brock Purdy against the Chiefs. Man, George Kittle, 8 yards behind the defender. Jacob Cowing, 12 yards behind the defender. And you hit on those connections, but you only got 3 points out of both those passes. Hit them in stride, get the touchdowns, get the explosive plays whenever they're there. But you win on the ground, run the ball, control the tempo, keep Dak on the sideline, and let them have some yogurt, and then we have a good time. That's the way it should be.
So the Niners have been struggling in a couple of areas. Like they struggled on third down, especially last game against the Chiefs. They've struggled, especially mainly in the red zone. So it sounds like the Niners are going to be able to get into the red zone a lot against this Dallas Cowboys defense, regardless of how great or built their secondary is that you talked about. It's going to be taking chances and things like that. So how did the Niners find a way to finish in the red zone? And I think that's got to be the ultimate question. So you got the game plan against this defense, but what's the game plan when the field is squinched, it's shrunk down, and you're on that, I would say 7 to end zone territory? How did the Niners find a way to punch this in?
It's funny because it's kind of It's weakness on weakness. And so here's what I mean by that. Like, you look at the 49ers offense in the red zone, we're 27th out of 32. We're a bottom 6 team. But then you look at the Cowboys defense, they're 31st out of 32, second to worst. Okay, now flip the script. All right, the 49ers suck at defense in the red zone. We're 23rd. That's bottom 10. Then you look at the Cowboys offense, they're 31st. It is weakness on weakness on weakness on weakness. Somebody's got to step up. Somebody has to change the trend. And last week against the Chiefs, they were terrible in the red zone until they played us. They went 4 or 5 in the red zone. They got 4 touchdowns on 5 red zone trips. Can we do that to an opposing team? Can we take advantage of a weakness that is being presented instead of, oh, we've got players out. Oh, it's what it is. No, go out. Everybody has injuries, including the Cowboys. Seize the day, freaking capitalize, own up and bully somebody. We have bullied the Cowboys in the past. Run the damn ball. Power, power, power. Oh, they stopped us for a run for no game. Let's throw out every single running play that we have in our book. No. Stick with it. Stick with it. Run the ball. Run the ball. One of my favorite stats or rankings is if you look at rushing touchdowns allowed by the Cowboys defense, they've allowed 10 rushing touchdowns. It's second worst, and they had a bye week. You can run in the red zone. They might stop you once, Kyle. Keep it going. Just keep running. Mash this team into submission.
Just so many ways I feel like the Niners can score, and I'm not quite sure why they're struggling in that red zone area. Like, where the quick slants, where the mesh concepts, like where are these guys rolling out with Brock? Why can't Brock? Why not drop back if they're playing coverage opposed to coming at you? You just take it up 2-3 yards and get into the end zone. Like, I feel like Brock Purdy is going to have to do more. You know what I mean? Like, doesn't mean he has to make it complicated, but he has to find a way other than a quarterback sneak design run to get that ball into the end zone where, you know how we watch Josh Dobbs around the goal line. I'm not saying he's got to be Dobbs, but Dobbs is looking to score. Right?
Will not be denied.
That I'm not going to be denied. Whether I throw it in, I'm running it in. Either way, we are here and we get in. I thought our red zone offense was superb in the preseason, but that was without Brock Purdy. It's like Brock Purdy's here, and then the red zone offense looks like. And so, like, I'm trying to figure out, is it Brock not just seeing the field and finding a way? Is this the game where Brock is going to say, I'm going to put the team on my back, and we're going to get to this red zone. We're going to get 5 times, and we're getting in all 5 because I'm going to get us in.
That would be amazing. And even to, kind of complicate it further, you can't turn the ball over in the red zone. That interception in the red zone,
that hurt.
That was just like everybody just got punched in the stomach. Like,
that was a gut check. That was like a gut, like, oh my gosh, like, I'm about to throw up. Like, damn, we were right here, we were about to score, about to take the lead.
Right.
No, I get what you're saying. So basically, you're saying the 49ers offense, they need to run the ball. They need to find a way to run the ball. It doesn't matter how they run the ball. They need to find a way to run the ball, and they need to stick to it. They need to be consistent with the run game, okay? I get it. I can dig that. What else does Brock, though, need to do to move the ball on his defense? We talked about finishing in the red zone, but how do we fluently move this ball? Like, who is he attacking? Is it the linebackers? Is it the secondaries? Or is it the safeties? Like, what does Brock got to do to not make those same mistakes?
Man, there are vulnerabilities everywhere. We talk about tackling, and the 49ers aren't good at that. The Cowboys are worse.
Really?
Trayvon Diggs, one of the worst tackling corners in the NFL. He doesn't get paid to do that. That's his mentality. Demarion Overshown, Longhorn, rookie, stepping in for Kendricks. He's a playmaker, but he overshoots like Malik does consistently. Their safeties, Malik Hooker, so many missed tackles. So, like, you don't have to go do anything special and draw up, all these crazy plays like the water boy. No. You be who you are. Your playbook will be wide open this week. Take care of the ball, run the ball. You're going to be fine. Their linebackers aren't good. Their corners are aggressive, but they give up big plays. They give up a lot of big plays. They take gambles consistently. It's
I have
going to present itself.
I have Dallas ranked 27th against the run.
Eesh.
27th. They're giving up 143.2 yards per game. They better figure that out. This needs to be a Mason Garendo, whoever Kyle's gonna spell Mason with, type of a game. Especially now, especially if you're not gonna have your Debo out there, and if you're not gonna trust Jacob Conning or any of the other wide receivers to do jet sweeps or things like that, then I need to see more. I need more of the rookie. I need more outside, maybe some screens, maybe some swing passes. Don't even have to be a screen. Just a different type of play just to get the offense going and see if they can execute properly on some of these plays. Linemen got to block, a bunch of stuff. But I believe the offense. Let's switch to the defensive game plan, because now you're talking about a team that likes to air that hole out. We're talking about a quarterback that likes to throw. We're talking about a quarterback that will be mobile. It's like, damn, can we just get a stationary guy back there? And so does Dak Prescott, does he pose a threat to the San Francisco 49ers defense and their vulnerability and their missed tackles? Does he take advantage of some things like that?
Dak's a good quarterback. Like, I'm not. It's easy to make fun of Dak because of all the playoff shenanigans and whatever else, and like whatever. Dak's a good quarterback. He is surrounded, like we talk about, like, man, what are the 49ers going to do? They ain't got no weapons. Dude, Dallas has one playmaker.
That's it, man. CeeDee Lamb.
It's like him and nobody else.
Nope.
You got a bunch of dudes named Jalen nobody's ever heard of. The running backs aren't really even
Jalen
running
Tolbert.
backs.
Yep.
Yeah. And so Jalen, what's the other Jalen's name? Brooks. They got Jalen Brooks. There's another Jalen
wide
receiver out there. Like, Ferguson's a good tight end. You know, Rico
yeah, but he's not scoring.
No.
And so that's good, right?
And their O-line's not good. Their O-line's really bad.
Yeah.
They have a Hall of Famer. We have a Hall of Famer. They have a Hall of Famer in Zach Martin, who's incredible. He's not good anymore. He literally got bossed around in that Detroit game, and it was so bad that, like, everybody started paying attention to, man, Zach Martin, number 70, who's a star. I'm serious. He's a Hall of Famer. He's currently ranked 29th guard.
Yeah, it's time for him to hang him up. They just paid him. They just paid him.
Yeah, he got paid, and so offensive line's bad. Rookies, vets that are bad and aging. Tyler Smith, sorry, he's awesome. I think he's really, really good. He plays left guard and left tackle for him. He'll be playing left tackle this upcoming week. But you could take advantage of this team multiple locations across that offensive line. They don't have a running back that can really get going. One of the worst run games in the NFL. One wide receiver. So stick to your zone base. Do not play man. I say it every week. Doesn't matter. Nick Sorensen can't help it. All he does is do man on third down every single time. Predict it every single time. And they're going to manipulate and get CeeDee Lamb against the safety. Jair Brown probably, who's not good at man coverage. It's going to happen. Nick Sorensen cannot help himself. Can't. He just cannot play zone defense on third downs. And that's my concern because he has to do the same thing every time. Cover one man every single time on third down.
Dallas Cowboys are officially ranked 32nd in average yards per game. 32nd. They have 77.2 yards. They average 77.2 yards per game. You know what my issue is, though? They're going to come out and try to run the ball. And so right, but they're going to test our ability to tackle. Because we talk about, you know, how shell of a guy that Zeke Elliott is in, and then Rico Dotto, whatever his name is. Like, he's a little speedy guy. They got another little speedy guy, a little short guy out of there as well that they might use from time to time. But this can't be the game that their rushing game gets off against our defensive front. And so we have to find a way to fundamentally make them one-dimensional, because we want Dak throwing 5 interceptions, not 5 touchdowns. We want our defensive secondary to be able to tee off. But the first thing they got to find a way to do is continue to make Dallas the worst rushing team in football. I think that the 49ers might come out there and be like, yeah, they're a bad team, and then they're just lackadaisical. And, you know, Kareem Hunt, the Kansas City Chiefs were a bad ranked rushing team. They weren't super great in rushing. They were bottom 5, bottom 10. And then Kareem Hunt has the best game of his this season. The guy they got off the street. against a top 10, number 7th at the time, run defense. Help me out. How do we not? How do we stop? How do we continue to be back at the top at the run game?
Yeah, missed tackles are huge. I mean, Malik Mustafa's not going anywhere. He had 3 missed tackles. Like, damn. Yeah. I mean, and you can't do that. Fred Warner had a huge missed tackle. D. Winters played incredible. Still had a huge missed tackle at a key moment in the game on that
third down.
On a third down play. So, like, tackling's a big deal. And the 49ers preached it all last week. Bore no fruit. None whatsoever. You still got Charvarius Ward, who had probably his best game of the year. Absolute refusal to take part of the run game. They kept running all those jet sweeps and McCall Harmon stuff right at him, and he turns and runs away. He's playing defense very similar to Diggs is, where it's just like, you don't pay me to tackle. Like that's not who 7 used to be, but that's who he is now. So yeah, there's still fear because, man, if I'm drawing up a game plan offensively for the Cowboys, dude, I'm running off the right offensive edge at number 7 consistently. And I'm going to find who's my alley player. I'm going to isolate that on Malik Mustafa on the backside, because if we break through those linebackers, man, you got a 50-50 chance that dude's going to whiff.
That's weird, because I thought he was in on a few tackles last week, but I didn't see the ones that he missed.
He was in on some, but he's always retreating. He is not the 7 of old.
That's cool. I wonder if that could be true, and I'm just wondering if it has to do with these silly injuries, like these freaking injuries. Does it change the mindset of how players used to play? Is he making a business decision because it's a contract season? It's just yeah. And I'm not. Look, I get it. I get it, but he has to go out there and find a way to get back to himself, because the better he plays, the more money he'll be worth if he can get through the season healthy. And that Ward is he was never this bad. So I'm confused.
It's effort, man. And I hate to say it, but like watching 11 on offense refuse to block with the energy that we're used to seeing him block, and then watching on defense the 7, and it's just like a mirrored image. Like, I don't know who these two guys are. The energy and the effort in this part of the game that they, were amazing at, it's just like disappeared. And so, it's not like we have a little bit of tape. We have a lot of tape. And I don't know who those players are anymore. I just don't. And so hopefully this changes.
So the Niners are favored to win. They're favored by 4.5 points as of right now. What are your thoughts, man? Do the Niners, first of all, how many points you think the Niners are going to score on this defense? And do you think they could come out and pull out a win, man? They got to get to 4-4. That's got to be the mindset. That's got to be the game plan. How to get to 4-4.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at the games you've won. You've won 3 games. You scored over 30 in all 3 of those games. Anytime you score under 30 points, you lose. Now, I do not see us scoring 30 points. Yeah, this is a terrible defense, the Cowboys, but I just don't see it. The amount of mistakes that the 49ers have had continuously this season, I don't see that. I think the 49ers get to kind of that 23 to 27 point range. That should win it. Doesn't mean they will. You look at the Cowboys, in their games they won, they scored 33, 20, and 20. They're not putting up points either, and 9 points on their last game against the Detroit Lions. So, gosh, first 1 to 20 probably wins this game, to be honest. Like, whoever gets to 20 points will win this game. Should be the 49ers. They're the better team, better roster, better coached, which is crazy. I don't think I've said that against any other opponent this year. But the 49ers, even with the coaching staff they have, special teams and defensive coordinator, are better coached than the Dallas Cowboys this year.
The Cowboys are averaging 21 points per game. And so offensively, the Niners should be able to put up 21 easily against this defense. It's just, it all comes down to, I think, will, drive, and determination, bro. You said effort. I put that as far as will. Like, do the Niners want to win this game? That's the first thing. Should the 49ers win this game? Absolutely, without a doubt. But we do know that on any given Sunday, depending on which team shows up, you know what I mean? That's what we kind of get. And if we get another energy, effortless type of a game from the San Francisco 49ers, this team can possibly lose. with this game plan that you devised, there's no way that they should if they go out and execute it. But the Niners have to execute, and that's why I think my argument all season long has been execution. It's something that these players aren't just grasping or they aren't doing, and if they fail to execute against the Cowboys, the Niners are going to be 3-5 at the bye week, John.
Gosh, we've been there before and still made the NFC Championship, but you don't want to put yourself behind the 8 ball. And if you think the 49ers fans are upset now, you lose to a bad Cowboys team, that's where, like, not heads will roll, but, it's good. Like, you think it's bad now? It can get worse.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
It can
John,
get worse.
It's going to get worse, man. Thank you so much for delivering the game plan right here on the WayneBreezie Show. We appreciate everybody for tuning in live. Make sure you leave your comments in the comment section for sure. Also, don't forget to like this jizoint and feel free to subscribe to the channel. John, you're ready to take us home, baby.
Man, there are a few things in sports that just like are the epitome of why we are fans. And for me, my origin story, literally, to becoming this villain that I am today, is 49ers Cowboys. And so this game is everything. If I could have one game to win all year, regardless of the results, Super Bowl, it's the freaking Dallas Cowboys. I almost let another word out. I hate this team. Again, I channel my haters ball, Dave Chappelle. Hate. Yeah, I can't stand this team. So go do what you got to do. And I'm going to talk trash to every Cowboys fan I know. I don't care if we're coming off a loss. Get this W. Understand what this game means. It's everything. Let's go Niners. Let's go Faithful. Let's get it done. But until we beat the Cowboys this weekend, stay strong, Faithful.